Hey, thank you so much, Dr. Mayfield, for allowing me to come do my communication audit at Langston Road Elementary. Before I share my findings with you, I just want to tell you what research is saying about communication. First, communication is not just telling and explaining what is happening in our school and what is happening in public education, but it is also taking time to consider what parents might have to say, and by listening and absorbing what parents and community members and even students are saying about our school and about education, so that we can make sure that we are meeting the needs of our students. So first, you know that I was able to collect data in many different ways. I collected data with surveys and interviews. I was able to observe some meetings. I also was able to look at documents that you house in your OneNote notebook found on Office 365. We looked at Class Dojo together. I took time to look at your Facebook page, your school website. I also looked at your report card that is given by the state of Georgia through the Department of Education, and I looked at your CCRPI surveys that parents and teachers and students filled out. And what I found is, and I'm going to kind of divide it out, that you communicate with the people that are considered internal stakeholders. Those are your teachers and your students, but you also communicate with external stakeholders. So my findings were that primarily communication with teachers happens through this OneNote notebook. Anything that's ever been published by you or your teachers that needed to be shared, lesson plans, agendas, minutes of meetings, as well as anything that was decided in the meeting, is uploaded to the OneNote notebook. In addition, you have any handbooks, you have any expectations, you have the behavior plan, you have the schedule, the master schedule for anything found on this notebook. And the notebook is very well organized and it has tabs, and so it's very easy to read. Additionally, you've made a commitment to inform your staff of what is happening weekly through a newsletter which you've entitled the Pony Express. You have branded Langston Road very well because you're the stallions. Your colors are red and royal, and when you walk around and when you see the publications, things are red and royal, and things are linked back to the mascot, which is a stallion. And so the Pony Express is a way that you communicate weekly, either Sunday night or Monday. You send an email, but then you also save it to the notebook. So for the complete year, I could see every Pony Express that was ever sent to the staff. And it's just to inform them of what's happening in curriculum. It's informing them of what's happening on the calendar. It also just lets the staff know anything that needs to be celebrated, like birthdays, anniversaries, but you also let them know if someone had a death in their family or maybe an upcoming surgery. Also, you shared with me that anything that comes up after the Pony Express has been published and you feel like the staff needs to know right then, you send an email or an emergency staff meeting to inform them of that. Students are informed of information through morning announcements. They also have a student council that reports back to 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade things that are happening in the school. And the students on student council believe that their voice is important and that teachers want to hear their opinions, and that the administrative team, especially Dr. Mayfield, they feel you believe in them and that you value their opinion. And so I would also tell you that I also saw the different ways that teachers as well as you communicate with the external stakeholders, which is primarily your parents. And if it's just a calendar of events, you guys have only been open for 3 years, but your marquee is digital and it just scrolls the calendar for the week. So when parents are there to drop their kids off or to pick their kids up, they can see the marquee, they can see what's coming up for the week, and they can get it calendared. But also, if it's an important event like a workshop to inform them more about the Georgia milestones, or to teach them about how we teach reading with a Common Core, or how we're teaching math these days with Common Core, you do a school-wide call-out and you invite parents to come. And so with the school-wide call-out system, it is something where you record your voice, and with a press of a button on a computer, you can send it via home phone, cell phone, email, and you can send it to more than one parent in a home so that everyone is informed through the school call out system. Additionally, teachers are using something that is called Class Dojo, and every teacher has an account. And Class Dojo was primarily designed to inform parents about behavior, but there also now is a place to upload pictures and to tell class stories, and it is safe, and it is a place that teachers also upload their newsletter. And their newsletter is just not a calendar, but it says this month or this week in reading workshop we're doing this. Ways you can help at home are these things. So parents are being informed not only of calendar events, but they're also being informed with instructional things that are happening in the classroom. So they're very aware when tests are coming. They're aware of how to study with their children at home. They're aware of what unit of study their children are in because of the class newsletters that are being sent on Class Dojo. Class Dojo also allows teachers and even yourself to send an individual message to one parent at a time. And so it becomes very private that way. And it opens that two-way communication up. Now, additionally, you have a school council that meets quarterly, and the school council is there for you to inform. And let me just say, it's comprised of administrators, teachers, parents, and a business leader. So it's a time for you quarterly just to share what is happening at the school. The meeting usually lasts 30 to 40 minutes. They, like I said, it meets quarterly. And then you have a very, very active PTO that you meet with, and you have a leadership team, and you guys brainstorm ways to fundraise, as well as how can that PTO assist in the school with volunteers in the classroom, helping with copies, helping in the office. So the PTO communicates with you, and you meet with the PTO on a regular basis. Now, when I did my audit, I found several strengths. One is obviously your one-way communication is very strong. It is seen through the OneNote, the Pony Express, and with the external stakeholders, Class Dojo. And with this, I would say that your teachers, 82% strongly agree and 18% agree that they're very well informed of what is expected at the school. I think it's a direct reflection of the OneNote and the Pony Express, because you tell them these are the things that are happening, and you send out emails if they need to know more. 100% of your staff or your parents feel they're well informed or informed of what is happening at the school. That is a reflection of one-way communication too, because of Class Dojo, the marquee, the newsletters, anything that you're doing, the call out to inform parents of what is happening at the school. Not only do 100% say that they're well informed or informed, 95% say that they feel communication is excellent or above average at Langston Road. And so this one-way communication is very strong, and it's not just a calendar of events. You are beginning to inform and see, especially in the internal stakeholder area, how teachers are mining data in grade level meetings and developing grade level strategy groups where they're sharing students for a small segment of time to review standards or to extend and enrich standards. So they're either reteaching student standards, and they're based upon benchmarks. So they're using this, and you're able to see it through that. The other thing that's a huge strength is the way you're using your leadership team to make decisions to communicate with the rest of the staff. You have a leadership team that meets monthly, and then the leadership team goes back to their grade level team. And during the grade level team, they feel like at the grade level that they are being able to have open and honest communication about decisions made at the school, because 88% of your staff says that they can have open and honest communication at the school. And I think that is the way you have developed your leadership team to go back and lead their grade level. Additionally, you have developed a school vision. It's published and it's being used by your school leaders. Another thing that is a strength is you already have a student council in place. They're empowered to do service projects. Additionally, Though I've already talked about all the ways you communicate to parents. Parents believe that you're communicating in a very effective way, and they like the variety of ways that you're communicating to them. And so I would say keep that up. You're doing a great job. Now, as I look at the weaknesses at Langston Road, I would say that you have developed leaders um, with your leadership team. But when I attended meetings, the BST meeting, the school council meeting, the vertical team meeting, and the staff meeting, one person did most of the talking. That person developed the agenda. That person led the meetings. And on the vertical team and the BST meeting, the leader that was facilitating tried to get people to give feedback, but they just sat. And so even though we're saying 88% feel there's honest communication, I think we're seeing it in a segmented area, because when you view the other meetings, it really is in the BST meeting, the staff meeting, Dr. Langston, Dr. Mayfield, it's you leading, but in the vertical team meeting, it's whoever is the facilitator is leading, and nobody else really is sharing ideas. The other thing is you have a student council, you have a school council, but they're not being used. They're aware there's a vision, but they don't even know what the vision is or what the vision means. And in order for you to have all students have a world-class education, these people are going to have buy-in. They're going to have to give feedback of what is happening at the school. Additionally, we've already talked about how the school leadership team is being used. It's being used in an outstanding way, but how are we empowering other staff members? Also, you are beginning to communicate the Georgia milestones data, and you should. You have the highest CCRPI rate in the district. However, are there things at Langston Road that could be celebrated in grade level meetings weekly? Are there things that could be celebrated in the BST meeting that are things that are happening? Are there things that could be celebrated from formative assessments or from mining the data that is done on a regular basis during grade level or during staff meetings? So my question is, are we only celebrating milestones data, or can we look at other ways that we can look at how can we become a school that celebrates our successes, because great things are happening at Langston Road for you to have the highest CCRPI rating in order for us to go to good, to great, or to give all students a world-class education. We're going to have to celebrate the great things teachers and students are doing on a daily basis. So my recommendations are there's two that go hand in hand, so the first two I'm going to talk about. First, you have to incorporate mining data with your staff. In the BST meeting first, they need to look at the data, they need to mine it, so then they can take it back to the grade level. I see at grade level meetings, they're looking at their science and math benchmarks and they're using them effectively. But what across the school? Everyone gave a math benchmark at the same time, but what is our school data saying from these math benchmarks? And where do we see our weaknesses? And how can we develop professional learning communities based upon the needs of our data? So we can look at milestones, but we could also look at independent reading levels. We can look at our word study and our spelling inventories. We can look at our benchmark scores and develop professional learning communities in which we develop more leaders in the school to be empowered to help us do the research and how we can be more effective in increasing student achievement. The other thing is you already have in place a school council and you have a student council who are ready to work and to hear. I'm not saying that students should be making major decisions at the school, but let them have a voice. Let them hear about what is happening and let them say, well, what does this mean to be a world class? So are we listening to what they're saying and the feedback they can give us, especially that school council that has teachers, parents, and a business representative? Finally, I think we have to be in the community and we have to brand our school better in our community. Perry is a small town that has private business owners. What can we do to get those businesses involved in our school? But also, what can we do to get our school out to those businesses? We have a strong reading and writing workshop at Langston Road. Can you put student work in the local library for book reviews? Can they put their writing in the local Chick-fil-A or in the businesses downtown that are privately owned? Additionally, we have a huge STEM grant at Langston Road. How can we bring Robins Air Force Base in to help us better use the STEM money we've just received to empower teachers so that they can be teaching science, math, and engineering where they might feel uncomfortable, where they could come in to do career days for our students? Or better yet, how can they look at the way we have bought things and give us ideas in order to educate our students so that all students have a world-class education?